Hello, Realtors. This is Tony Geraci, broker of Century 21 Homestar, and today is Wednesday, the 20th already of March, first day of spring, or yesterday was first day of spring. It's spring. But a great topic today, and of course, I've gotten many calls and texts and emails from agents, not just Century 21 Homestar agents and direct messages on Facebook uh from agents all over about my videos, and even a couple of my agents say, Tony, you're so fired up. Which I am so fired up about these topics. So the topic today, listing agents, please. Again, back to the disclaimer I do on all my videos. This is my opinion. I'm not an attorney. I'm just giving you a broker and owner of 30 plus years of experience in real estate what I suggest. Listing agents, please do not lower your total commission just because a buyer's agent is not present. One thing, and this is going to be another long video, I'm going to tell you the history of real estate over 30 years. One of the things that I feel happen over the last several years or decades, not just the extreme sellers market that has the consumers wanting us to change around some things, but 30 plus years ago, when we took a listing, it was at a total amount, no matter what, if there was a buyer's agent or wasn't a buyer's agent. Because again, not to go into specifics, it could be different in different states. But back then, when I got in real estate 30 plus years ago, it was everybody worked for the seller. So buyers didn't have any agency. There was no buyer's agency. But this is the term I want you to stick with. But that there was still somebody that worked for the buyer. This is a question I give agents all of the time is sometimes listing agents feel this happens almost on a weekly basis. Oh, Tony, I got a buyer coming in, called me off a yard sign, so I'm a dual agent. I said, absolutely not. You are not a dual agent. Please repeat after me. The lack of another agent, when it's your listing, the lack of another agent doesn't make you a legal dual agent. If you are confused about what I said, call me, text me, email me. I will set up a time. I'll go over specifics and you can ask all your questions, but I'm going to give you the basics of it. Agency is who you represent, who you know, who you're looking out for your best interest. If a buyer calls you off a yard sign or an advertisement or a website, and you don't know, you barely even know their first name, and as long as you get them a consumer guide to agency as soon as humanly possible, email, send it to them before you show the property so they know agency relationship. You do not have to, and I suggest in our office, you do not become a dual agent. You don't know that buyer. You don't know how to look out for their best interest. And then some agents go, well, Tony, then how do I get this deal done if I'm not a dual agent? I said, you represent the seller. There's even a mark on the agency disclosure form that says, listen, one agent involved in the transaction representing the seller. The state of Ohio says it right there. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You represent the seller. You don't really know the buyer. You've never shown them another house. You don't know their finances. You don't even know how to spell their last name. You're showing a house. So so I said, but you represent the seller, but you work for the buyer. This is my term, work for the buyer. Like, what do you mean I work? Do I represent them? Am I a dual agent? No, you work for them. Are you going to talk to them? Yes, I'm going to talk to them. Are you going to advise them on what the lowest amount the seller is going to pay? Well, absolutely not. I work for this. I represent the seller. Yes. So you're not going to look out for the best interest of the buyer. You're not going to be a dual agent, be neutral. You're going to look out for the seller because you have the relationship with them. Now then how do I do the transaction just like normal. You are going to provide the paperwork. You're going to provide the guidance of the process on that. And there are actually, not to skip gears, there are actually some states that dual agency is not allowed at all. And agents in Ohio be like, how is that possible? Well, just like attorneys, if you have two attorneys, you have to get your own agent. You can't let the one agent be involved in the sale. Wow, that would be great. I'm sorry, I just had to throw that in. Oh gosh, Ohio, anybody, if you could make that possible, like some other states, don't know what those states are. If I want, I'll look it up, I'll find out. But wow, wouldn't that be awesome? Just like attorneys, hey, right? Attorneys say you can't have the same attorney representing the same person. You either got to represent yourself or you have to find your own. So the point I'm getting at is that you can work for the buyer. You're going to have to be there to help them with their documents, the DocuSign or .loop. You're going to have to walk them through the process. You're going to have to help them schedule their inspections. You're going to have to get them pre-approved and talk with the lender. You're going to have to get them all set up with the title company. And basically what that's going to do is set up you as doing all the work a normal buyer's agent would, but this is the point of the whole video, is that you are not going to get paid for it. Why would you cut your commission and just get the listing side of things when you are not, when you're doing double the work to this? And so many times I sit down and he's like, yeah, that's right. That's right. So this is one of the reasons, not to go dive into why we're in the situation we're in today, is I feel that what we did was we separated that. Agents started discounting their commissions when they did double the work, and they said, oh, there's no buyer's agent to pay, so I will only take the normal half, and you just double the work. Now, on a broker side of things, on a company side of things, agents, let me tell you this, and I hope it never happens to you, but it happens to us every year, happens to companies every year, because it's just a numbers game. We sell over 2,000 houses a year. It's going to happen. It does. The percentage chance of having some liability involved when there's just one agent involved in the sale, I can't even give you minimum 5 times to 10 times more likely there's going to be a lawsuit because the buyer wasn't represented and someone else looking out for their best interest. Not to say that the listing agent did anything wrong or would do anything wrong, but the increased in liability if the buyer felt that maybe they didn't get explained agency. Even worse, what happens, buyers put dual agency and they sign dual agency, but they don't act like a dual agent. That is the most, if you talk to any real estate attorney that represents agents with complaints to the Division of Real Estate, that honestly, our attorney told us this many years ago, and I know it's probably true. The number one complaint to the Division of Real Estate is dual agency, because one party didn't think that they did dual agency. Example like this, and this happens, it does. I have agents that every once in a while list their own properties, and the buyer comes in, hey, I'm a dual agent. I sit there and I take a deep breath, and I love that my agents, I love them, but then I say, please read the definition of dual agent. You own the property. How, by definition of dual agents, you could be a dual agent in this? Innocent third party. You're not telling the seller anything the buyer is saying, and you're not telling the buyer anything the seller is saying. You are the seller. It's impossible. It's literally impossible to follow dual agency and have and own your own property. If any agents watch this, like, oh my God, I sold my own property and I was a dual agent on paper, good. There's another famous quote I have all the time is, it's never a problem until there's a problem. And when there's a problem, it's a complaint to the Division of Real Estate. So So I tell my agents this, and I tell all agents this. And I just had why this sparked this early this morning. One of our agents sent a email to the office. Hey, I have a listing, and I have a buyer that's calling me and automatically says, I don't want a buyer's agent. I don't want someone to represent you. I want you to show the house. And the first thing I said, yes, you could show the house, get them a consumer guide to agency. Before you do that, explain that you're not a dual agent. You work for the seller only. You tell them they're welcome to get representation. And then I said, on your side of things, you do not discount the commission for the seller. Don't go to the seller and say, hey, I'm going to cut you a break because follow the listing agreement the way it's written. They pay full price. They offered money to a buyer's agent. If there is no buyer's agent, they still pay the full price. One of the main reasons behind this, and I was getting this feeling from this buyer, we got to make sure buyers don't feel that because they go to the listing agent, they're going to get a discount. That would hurt our industry. It would hurt the buyers, hurt the agents, hurt everybody. That's not the whole point of this lawsuit, for buyers to get a discount. It's not, it's just bottom line. I'm not talking numbers, like percentages. When you have a seller's offering something to the listing agent and offer something to a buyer's agent, you have it on your listing agreement. I'm not going into the laws or legally interpreting anybody else's listing agreement, but it has a total amount, and they give us the authorization to pay a buyer's agent, or they are going to pay a buyer's agent out of that total. But if it doesn't say in there, in our listing agreements, that because there's no other buyer's agent, you don't have to pay a buyer's agent. Tell our agents you're going to do double the work. It might sound okay. It might sound okay on the first deal, like, look at a good buyer. Just listed it last night, new buyer. Oh, I'm doing less work. I've had agents say, okay, I'm going to do that, and without asking me first and agree to that, and that, they're an independent contractor. But they got to a point that one didn't go through. And then 20 more offers with other buyers agents and things. And then 4 months goes in, 5 months goes in, 6 months goes in, a house is not selling, all this stuff. And then another person comes in, buyer come in without an agent. And the agent's like, oh, I shot myself in the foot. I promised the seller that I would cut him a break over here at the beginning, because thinking I got a quick sale. Now 6 months in, and dozens of offers and hundreds of hours of more work. And now I'm cutting my commission for this seller because I told them over here. So to summarize to listing agents and what I will be promoting and pushing, again, please, anybody watching this that's not an agent, the public or whatever, remember, I'm not talking about percentages. Every agent is an independent contractor. Each company is different. They get to set the price. We, as agents, get to tell what buyers, what sellers, what we charge with the service. That will never change. Mark my words, that will never change, because we are a business. We are allowed to set our prices. A restaurant, a car dealership, a cleaning service, a lawyer, an accountant, any professional service, anybody gets to set the price. The only thing that's been happening, and again, I've said this in other videos, is that some people thought it wasn't fair because we keeping the price about the same. And I promise you, like I said in my video yesterday, there's going to be sellers that wish they got those percentages they thought that were high. When the buyers flip, when it's a buyer's market, there's going to be sellers. Oh, I remember when agents were happy with this, but now I'm shopping 10 agents and they're all this or higher. They're all a little bit different because it's an open market. They could charge right, but now the market's over here, So that's the point I wanted to make, because there's so many agents out there that especially when the agents that don't know this, that don't know, they think they have, no matter what, if there's a buyer's agent or not, they have to only charge what their side would be. There's agents out there trying to drum up business because they're telling sellers, hey, if I get a offer without another buy with a buyer's agent, I'll cut your commission. And they're trying to get in there to get more business. I disagree with that practice, but that's my opinion. I get, as an individual, independent agent, independent contractor, I could choose to do that in my business. But so I'm trying to spread the word, at least to our agents or anybody who's watching. Please, if you're just an agent, talk to your broker, talk to your manager. I'm just going to jump ahead. Talk to your primary principal broker that's legally responsible for you. 2, if they're not available or they don't take your calls or you don't even know who they are, because that's the person that's supposed to be talking to you like this. Next, management level licenses. If you are at a company and you have absolutely no idea who in your office is a management level license, go onto the Division of Real Estate, look it up, see who's right underneath the broker in the state of Ohio's eyes, who's legally required to help you. In our office, if you didn't already know this, because every agent who joins, I tell you this, but you might have forgotten, it's my partner, Brenda, our office manager, Debbie, our sales coordinator, Julia. They are management level licenses. They have skin in the game. When they tell you something or give you an opinion, or they give you advice, their license is on the line with you, where we have skin in the game. Don't listen to another agent. Please don't listen to another agent. I love all my agents. I love all of you, but some of you just don't have the experience of selling 2,000 homes. You're not saying or doing anything wrong. You're just going by your experience, which is, because, oh gosh, if I had a nickel for every time I hear it almost every day, Tony, I've never had that problem before. I've never done it that way. I see this all the time, daily calls with agents, because some agent in some area is used to this form and they say you can't write it up on that form, and I'm like, oh gosh, they're just so used to certain things and certain areas, and they just don't know any different. So with all the misinformation out there, I wanted to get this video out because I'm just seeing it. I just want to nip it in the bud as much as possible, that buyers don't automatically think I gotta call the listing agent because I'm going to get a deal. Also, I'm just saying my personal opinion. I just had an agent yesterday. She's like, Tony, it's my listing. I've got multiple offers, escalation clauses. I got another buyer coming today. They want me to show it to them. They don't have an agent. What should I do? I say, please, my opinion, please just go get them another agent. Tell them to get represented. We will find someone in our office if they don't know someone, but we want them represented. And I went over all of the scenarios. And if anybody gets in those positions, I'll tell you all the scenarios, all the things that could go wrong. It's kind of like sometimes a lose-lose. You think you're doing a great job. You've got a buyer that says, and I'll tell you, if your buyer gets the deal or doesn't get that deal, where you could lose, and not that you did anything wrong, but there's sometimes headaches with those situations. So I always love when there's a buyer and seller agent on both sides. It really, as a company, makes my blood pressure stay low. They have representation. Listing agent or listing has representation, the buyer's representation. Everybody's on the same playing field. They have their own personal people helping them all the step of the way. And being the in between both sides. So as a broker, the amount of times I had to get on the phone with a buyer or seller because we were a dual agency situation, nothing anybody did wrong, but feelings. I just feel like the agent isn't doing this or that, when they totally are. They just don't get a feeling. But when you have someone just says, I just talking to you, you know, and I'm sorry to go into detail. I love telling stories. Example is that when in a story, I'm not using any names, just happened is I had a seller call me up once a couple years ago because the buyer, we had a buyer didn't have an agent. So our agent started talking to the buyer. Our agent started getting to know the buyer more and just getting to know because they have to be there for inspections. They're talking to them about their financing to get to the lender. Their personalities match. And then the sellers called me. I said, I feel like my agent now is friends with the buyer. They're going to go out. I overheard her once saying they're going to go out for dinner after the sale's done. I'm like, oh my God, never thought that would happen. I have a seller complaining that our agent was talking to the buyer that they didn't know, became friendly because whatever in life, and now they're going to be friends after the sale, and the seller was upset. Nothing was done wrong, but those are the situations you can get into, right? So I just wanted to use that example because some agents like, I've never had that happen before. Let me tell you like 10 other stories where things went bad. So that's it. I could go on and on for hours. So remember, reach out to me. I'm here for you. I'm here from now to the end of time. I tell all of my ages, I've been in the business 31 years. I hope I'm here, 53 years old, hopefully here for another 30 plus years. Hopefully when, whatever the real estate market's then, and I'm doing the same thing and helping and guiding and telling not 30-year-old stories. I'm gonna be telling 50-year-old stories to agents then of experiences to help them guide themselves through changing markets. So that's it. Have a wonderful day, a great Wednesday, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.